Good morning,
Good morning.
Andrea. Thank you for being my first video interview. And can you introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name's Andrea. So I'm a marketing director at a software company, and I live in Dallas, Texas.
Cool. So I'm just trying to interview people to help everyone see that our spiritual experiences or our phenomenal experiences are not so uncommon. And I thought I'd start off by asking you, do you have any particular experience that stands out in your history that you found so fascinating or moving?
I have a couple that have happened mostly through my dreams. So I think the first time I really noticed it, I had a dream one night that someone came to me in a dream, and they told me that their name was Mary, and that they were watching over me, and that I didn't have to be afraid that they were watching over me. And I woke up in tears, and I didn't know why. Like, it was something very emotional in my dream. And something like made me want to call my mom at the time. I was like 18 at the time. So I called my mom and told her I had this dream. And she was like, Andrea, I have a sister who passed away that I've never told you about, and her name was Mary.
Oh, wow.
And so, I don't know, that was very moving because I never knew why, like, I was so moved by that dream in the first place. And and I just felt like really compelled to call my mom immediately after. So that was really the first time that I felt something like from my dreams. And then there's been a couple times, like later in life, where I've had specific dreams about my sister. Like, there was a time where my sister was missing, and I had a dream that her car got found and towed, and I called my mother after I had that dream, and she was like, yeah, we found Melissa. And so it was two very, like, profound, like, dreaming experiences where I felt like someone was coming to me.
So with your sister, how long was she missing for at that time?
She was probably gone for, at the time, she wasn't missing, like, in terms of, like, someone abducted her. She kind of went off and was not contacting anybody, but and we were scared that she was maybe living on the streets. So I think it was about, like, a month since anyone had heard from her.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And then with the towing situation, how did your mom come to find out about that, where she was?
In my dream, her car was towed, but in the reality of it, the car that my sister was in was actually a car that was owned by my mother in her name. And so there was something that happened with the car where the police, like, looked up the car details, and my mother's name was attached to it, so they called her.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's like you were given a clue about what was going on with her at the time, and so what do you think about dreams? Like, what do dreams mean to you?
I don't know. I think about this a lot because my dreams are very intense. So I think part of dreams are obviously a part of your subconscious, and also, like, what is on your mind and worrying you, or, you know, if you're happy, like, what things that you're happy about and thinking about often. I think those come up in your dreams, but I also think that dreams can also maybe help you see some of the things that you're not seeing in your conscious mind. And even though they might seem like silly and done in a crazy way because your mind works crazy when you're sleeping, it might make things like more obvious, that maybe you're stressing about something, or that you have to confront something, or you have to deal with something. I think that sometimes my dreams kind of give me a little bit of insight of like what I might actually need to focus on.
Okay, yeah. I told you briefly that I recently have been getting this feeling like dreams are just different realities, and kind of like maybe in one reality your sister was towed literally, but that's somehow mirroring what's happening in the present. So in many different realities, different things are occurring, and sometimes it's also a channel for outside spirits or people in past, or to reach us in another reality where maybe that's even possible. What do you think? Do you think that's a plausible concept?
I think that it's possible, even, like it could be not in our dreams, and this could be happening even in our awake life. Like, I think it's crazy to think that this is the only dimension or anything where there's human life. Obviously, there's so many different solar systems and all of these things, so there could be different realities or things going on in all of those different places. I think it would be crazy to say that we're the only instance of life somewhere. So I definitely could see that being a possibility.
So, are dreams the main way that you felt a higher connection in your life so far?
Mostly. I've had some, I'm not a very religious person. I grew up Catholic, but we stopped going to church when I was about like 8 or 9 years old. And so I never really grew up with that background too much. But when I was in my early 20s, I was living in California. And the man I was dating at the time wanted to start going to church, a Christian church, which I was on board for, and so we would go to this church, and I don't necessarily believe in God, but I definitely believe that there's a higher power somewhere. And there were a couple instances when we would do, like, they would have people come up and share stories. And there were a couple instances where I just could feel, and maybe this is just the person's energy, but I could feel so much energy in that like room when a certain person was talking. And so I don't know if that's more like, if that's a spiritual thing or more of just like people's emotions being very strong, and like you can actually feel them in a room. But I would say that's another time where I felt very like connected.
Do you believe that everything's energy, or do you have any understanding of that concept?
A little bit. Like, all of us are energy, and that we have like certain energies that we maybe give off or take in. So,
when someone comes into a room and you feel their their happy vibe or something. Like, that's just you picking up their energy.
Right.
So
I feel that often, like, and maybe I'm always trying to pay attention to people's energies as well, but like, sometimes I can feel like when a mood shifts and I'm like, oh yeah. So yeah, I definitely believe and have, like, can see that all of us carry some certain energy that we can also like kind of put onto somebody else in a way.
Yeah. Interesting. So I'm still interested in that first story. Was Mary, when Mary passed, was she younger or older?
She was younger.
And in your dream, was she older or younger?
She was older. Yeah, and so that was weird too, because I was like, it wasn't old, but I didn't see her, but I could feel that she was older. Like, I didn't see anything in the dream, which is really weird too, because usually I dream in full color. I dream like very clearly. I know very clearly like who's in my dream, unless it's somebody I don't know. But I can make out faces pretty well and things like that in my dream. So for this dream I had at least no memory of like seeing anything.
Okay.
While the dream was happening.
Yeah.
I don't even remember like what I was doing in the dream, just that like I was there listening.
Wow, that's really cool. I once had an experience. I think I mentioned this one to you. My friend, he had passed away, and I didn't know at that time. And I had a dream where we were walking together in like this bright place, and there were like beautiful waterfalls all over the place, and he was just like laughing and saying, well, is that all there is, or something like that. And I really need to go back to my dream journal, because I wrote this dream down. And that's when I realized he visited me as he was going, or maybe I was just jumping into that reality where he was. Like, I mean, not jumping, but there was a version of me who was there. So then I got a glimpse of that. And so I do think that people who are gone, sometimes this is an easier manner for them to like reach us.
Yeah, no, I could see that. And you know, I've always wanted to do like one of those have like a medium come and like try, but like to try and reach someone I know. I've done like the ghost tours and stuff, and obviously like that might be a little bit fabricated for the audience, but I've always wanted to do something where like a medium came. I have seen there was this one time, actually, I totally forgot about this, but I was in my cousin's house, and it was all of my cousins. We had gone out for one of my cousins' bachelorette. Like, so we were all drinking, and so it was a bunch of us in her house, and I was sleeping in this, like, they had set up like a bed in the like family room, and the kitchen was attached to it, but it was dark in there, and my two other cousins were sleeping in like the bedrooms. And then I heard the ice machine going, and I heard footsteps. And so I was like, Nora, go back to bed. Like, I thought it was my cousin who was just like up and drunk, and I was like, go back to bed. Like, you should be in bed. Nice. And I didn't hear anything, and I was like, what? Okay. I went and checked, and there was no one there, and I was like, okay. But like I swear, like I like it was the ice machine going. Yeah. It was footsteps, And so I told my cousin the next day who lived there, and she was like, yeah, we have a ghost in our home.
Oh, great.
She's like, I don't usually tell people because he doesn't usually bother us when I have a guest over, and I don't want to scare anyone. But she had a medium come to her house because she kept having all of these kind of experiences where they told her, like, yeah, there's a ghost here. I forget what his name was. She had a lot of information about him, actually. He was somebody who lived there who was a vet or something, and but he wasn't mean. Like, he was he had nothing.
Yeah.
He had no anger, or bad spirits. So she just decided to let him stay rather than try and clear him out.
Yeah. Even though there are different instances where different things have reached me, I just feel scared to fully be open, like something like a Ouija board, or just welcoming whatever's out there, because I know there's a lot out there.
Yeah.
But I guess with care and with awareness, just like knowing this ghost who was getting ice, he didn't really mean any harm. So, but that is part of getting comfortable with what's there and knowing the difference between good and bad. I think we develop it, and some people are not lucky where they just have really mean spirits saying do this, do that, and all bad things. I actually came across someone like that, and it was really sad. I haven't yet figured out fully how one protects. I always believe in a bubble of glowing energy protection, around the bed and stuff like that before you sleep, when you dream too. But do you have anything else you want to share?
There's nothing. I can't think of another experience I've had that's coming to me that was, I think, like I said, that first one was probably the one that felt the strongest. I've definitely done a lot of research and learning lately about spirits and past lives and things like that, and I definitely want to continue looking into that, because I think that the more you maybe focus on it, then you can actually try and find meaning in things that are happening. And I think what you mentioned before, of practicing a lot of meditation and things like that, to like you said, that to bring in that energy. I think practicing that is actually a really good idea if you want to maybe experience something and maybe see what your life maybe experiences could be.
Yeah, and I think the more we connect to something besides our mechanical world and the system, man-made structure, the more we have an opportunity for peace and true connection. And so I do believe in developing those aspects of ourselves that we all have and shut down at an early age. Okay, well, let's just leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you.